Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at my Wixo world, and today we are looking at how the red team is going to expand a lot again, and how the world is going to turn upside down basically. We'll see the first thing we'll see the red team to do is expand a lot, and they'll also send people to their death over here, like to explore and stuff. Prisoners that are unlawful citizens, and those who break common sense and law are going to be sent over here to explore as much land as possible and spearhead themselves over here. Those who survive are going to slowly make their way over here until a small few remain. And as you can see, it just kept getting smaller. Before it was so many people, then it got smaller and smaller until they broke through and people just managed to get back to society. And when people just saw that this was their end of the journey and they were forced to go back and again, they were just very, very angry about this, but they were prisoners. What could they do? Some prisoners left the trail to make their own homes, and some others just decided that they just didn't want to go that far and stopped at some point. And most of them didn't survive the journey anyway, because, well, monsters, as they can say, a monster ate me or something. And to be honest, they are whining to each other when they are going into these areas. But what we'll see is that the red team will send out people to explore this area, and most of them will explore in the right spots, and we'll see both of these areas being explored. And the red team will first start to make a road over here. They will go all the way towards this area, and then they say, okay, we consider this ours, but it actually isn't technically theirs. They just declare that it's theirs, and people start to make fun of the red team that are in the red team themselves. They just say that the red team is being a dumb nation for doing that, and the leader is dumb. But some guys from the army just tell them to shut up sometimes. So life is good. We see this area being cut off from freedom, unclaimed areas, and that is also declared that to be theirs, and people start to laughing more. But eventually they start to actually push into these areas and settle. A few villages are built up over time, and eventually we'll see the red team declare that they will build more villages around the road over here, and that was just to get more population, so they can get more people to fight their wars. And the loss of this area just doesn't rob off of them off that hardly. It actually robs off quite easily. And we will see that the red team is going to claim these areas fully, and eventually both of these areas are fully claimed. Now we have a big blob red nation. Now we will see another group going, exploration group, going more up north than anyone else had, and they're going to be very small, around 50 people, and they're going to go around here, and they're gonna say, hey, this is already quite cold, so they go over to some areas that aren't that cold, and eventually they reach this, and they're like, hey, it's cold, but it's manageable. And as you can see right here, they made it to the coast over here, and they managed to get back to the way they came. But some people just forgot which way they were going, and they just started exploring over here, and they reached the same thing over here again. But this time they actually didn't survive until they managed to get back. So yeah, so everyone who was here is kind of dead, but they eventually get these maps. So some guy managed to get back, find people that were going around here, and they escorted him back all the way over here, and he told them about this area, which they now see is which the red team sees as prime real estate, and they will attempt to move into these areas, mostly because they just want more land. Their exploration teams will push into these areas, and they will also take a lot of more land. Eventually some areas over here will be like entered per se, but most of these guys will just be villagers that didn't want to be in these areas. They wanted to go more north, which is better and more manageable. So they go over here, many over here, and they found that it was quite lush over here, so they started to make villages, and eventually people just declared that this area is better than the southern parts, which is less so good. And currently we're gonna see another thing happening, and that is a small exploration front over here opening up, and that is just to explore more of the desert. Yeah, these people are dumb, as you can see. They push into these areas, exploring a lot of land. They map these lands, and eventually they just go off the grid until they manage to recognize that, hey, the maps are saying that we are going southern or south than these guys are, and eventually they just managed to make their way back over here, and they hit 2 coastlines. Then they go up over here, see that it's going back, and when they're right over here, they see a few lights during night over here, and then they know, follow the coast. And eventually people are like, how the hell did you get from here over here to here? And they show their maps, and well, everyone just started to explore into the desert over here, seeing the survival of these guys who went through the desert with almost no supplies to their name after they completed their mission as a miracle, and they will actually push towards these areas and explore and settle. And most of the red team will be like quite astonished by this. It's to the point that the red team is going to actually declare that they will annex these areas into their great nation. Also, for those who like the yellow team, don't worry, they're getting their cameo. But we'll see the green team also make their debut, and they're going to actually explore a bit more, and mostly explore these areas around Tehran, and where Tehran should be. Tehran should be like right here in real life. So, and if we're gonna be fully honest, we're gonna see most of these areas being explored, and these areas are gonna be quite ludicrous for the green team, as they know that in the future they don't want these lands, so they're gonna explore and they're gonna colonize most of this, mostly on the coasts where they're going to just explore a bit more, but mostly over here as well, as they explore these areas and just claim a lot of this. And as you can see, the northern parts of these lands are good. But what about the yellow team? What have they been up to? If you see me going like this, then they have been up to a lot. Very, a lot. very very much stuff they have been up to. Turns out the people over here kind of boomed in population to them finding out that fish are a good source of food, and the fishing villages became like quite populated, and then became fishing towns and then cities. Not major ones, but around some time they just started to be relevant, and we get our first major city being the capital of the yellow team, which is going to be right here. And wait, I have a solution for the yellow team to make them look different. Here we go. Now the yellow team is a bit darker, and it's easier to put them on the map. Let's go. As you can see, the yellow team kinda got a large expansion, and they're now as large, if not larger, than our good old friend over here. But to be honest, they haven't explored too much, as they don't really want to explore too much. They recognize that it would be better if they go over here and explore a lot more. But they didn't really want to. They don't really want to do that, as they want to just stay where they are. Some don't and still explore, but not many. Until some people go over here and they make a kind of a panhandle. Well, this is already a panhandle. This is like Yemeni Omani. Yemeni Omani. It's a Yemeni Omani. And eventually, we'll see that these guys will be quite exhausted when they find out they have been doing a lot of nothing for the country, and those who still think they are doing something eventually get surprised when they find out red team guys are coming all the way over here, eyeing up the coast for good stuff, and as you can see, the yellow team quickly decided that they wanted these lands, and said that everyone that went over here would get a reward of a lifetime supply of fish. Fish! But eventually the yellow team kinda also wanted to go over here, and it just became quite normal for people to expand a lot. Well, for nations to expand. Also, for the blue team, they're gonna get their first ever real cameo, aka elongated video section in the video. Yeah, they're gonna push towards more of the Nile. This time they're going to just push south, and eventually they're gonna just explore too much for the people to actually know what's going on in most of the world. And some of these guys that explore south go off track and move over here. Eventually they get found before they can like say that, oh, these lands are now ours, we don't exist as not, well, as a part of the blue team. But eventually they get found, and then like they don't make their own nation, which would have been disastrous for the blues, as the Nile is their only way of getting food, except for these areas mostly. And we will see the blue team also pushing towards these areas, as they want more coast. The more coast, the more fish. The more fish, the more coast, and the more coast they get more population, and more population means more expansion. So it's kind of a weird loop for the first part, and then it's not. Eventually we'll see the blue team looking something like this, and there's some a few guys are going to go over here, and well, they're gonna be quite stupid when they go over here, because they just make a small spearhead and they don't know what to do with it, so they only settle a bit. I'm getting quite anxious. But again, we'll see another thing happening, and that is that the red team will finally and fully expand over here and set up a small colony. Spoiler alert, this colony will soon be part of the red team. And the red team will also go towards the southern parts of Turkey, or well, explore the southern Anatolian coast, and they will be quite successful in their efforts, mostly because they send people to settle and make checkpoints in these areas, so people just manage to survive for a longer time. Jesus Christ, it is night. Ooh. But we also see a large part of the red team being quite, well, happy when they go towards the Anatolian Peninsula, and that's because they really want to go over here. The public supports this movement, but let me tell you what they don't like. That is when they have to connect up to these areas, because these areas really want to connect up with their fatherland. So we'll see the red team sending out people to make roads and a few waypoint villages, and eventually it will result in the connection up here. And people will just be quite greedy, and then they will just yeah. Although this was quite a good move by the red team, as they finally managed to connect up to the Black Sea, which gives them more fish. Not gonna lie, more fish is good. The more fish, the better. But what they won't account for is that the green team will see this and say, okay, we're just gonna push towards the Caspian coast. They don't really know what's towards the north of the Caspian coast. They just know something up here, and they're gonna push towards these lands because why not? Why not? Also, they're gonna explore some of these lands because why not? Why not? Like, there's no reason to not explore these lands. Unless they're trying to get very unsettled by the fact that the red team is like getting up to invade somebody. They don't know who is going to get invaded. Like two people that are bordering, and one of them is dead. Well, yeah. But we will see the red team declaring that, hey, green team, stop your movements. We need to make a plan together. And green team is like, okay, you can make a plan, but I'm going straight south. And yeah, this is what the green team just yeah. They also make a lot of villages when they're going south, resulting in them somehow gaining a lot of southern land. And they're gonna, well, mostly just take a lot of these lands for themselves. And when the red team is like, okay, we're just gonna push against these lands from like these areas, the green team is going to, in response to that, discover that there is a coastline down here, and they're going to just explore most of it and then set up a small waypoint colony, as you can see. It's not a colony, it's more like a village that they set up. And eventually we'll see that both of these guys will, you know who? The red team and this guy will make an agreement to divide up these lands between each other, and the first division is around these lands. And for this, we see, the first division is around these lands, where we'll see that the red team gets this pot, green gets. Again, we'll see another exploration happen, and this time we'll see the red team being scuffled a bit. Is that how you say it? Scuffled? Scaffold? I don't know. But the red team will be, choked. Like, jokes on you, this is not mine now. Like, this will happen. Also, very, very European borders. Let me just say that. Let me fix the borders here. I very much want non-European borders. This is gonna cause some problems in the future. I just know it. But we will see something like this be the borders, and I'm gonna fix a bit of over here. I don't like how it looks over here. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And now we're just gonna see something else happen, because something always happens, and it's always gonna be the red team when it happens. And that's them finally discovering that the UAE is the UAE areas are quite luscious, and they expand heavily into these lands. And these areas just feed the entire southern population, so everyone's like, okay, this is actually worth it. That's until they start to full on, I'm not kidding, expand into these areas. Namely expand, because everyone else who's trying to expand, they just kick out or just chase out of the lands. And eventually this is what it looks like for them. They are even a bigger blob with two panhandles over here, another panhandle, and another one. And it's just blob time for them. Also, they eventually meet up with the yellows, who are like, okay, let's make a border. I'll agree to take these lands, how about you? And the reds is like, yeah, we'll go over here. We want these lands, because who wouldn't like these lands? And we'll see that the blue team will also do another thing, and that is just again expand their known areas that they know are existing. aka they just expand their maps about these areas. They don't know that the red team expanded like with the green team over here. They just know that the red team is active around these areas, and somehow over here they don't know that there's a whole panhandle like above here, above this line. They just know there's something over here that the red team has done with too, and that something is gonna cause them to lose their minds a bit. And they're gonna go and invade these lands, because why not? They just want these lands. And we'll see that the blue team will also push into these areas. Yeah, they send all very many people to expand into these areas. Eventually they're just gonna cause a lot of expansions, but as you can see, the areas over here are farther from the capital, and the capital is farther from these areas, meaning rebellion time. Whoop! We'll see a pink team, the first nation over here that's African, as you can call them, well, Northern Eritrea, because I know Eritrea is somewhere around here. Eritrea is going to form after these areas, where they're forced to be explored by the people. And how do I say this? The people over here really didn't want to explore anymore. They just wanted to settle down. but they were forced to, and they don't like that, so they're gonna declare independence just to stay the way they are. And the blue team is going to brutally crush them, leading to the northern parts over here being taken over. Then these areas being taken over, and finally, somebody decided that, oh, we need to help the pinks, and another force over here decides to, well, a more military kind of force decides to pop up, and another more civilian area over here decides to also pop up against the blues. And the blues managed to push them into these areas, but they failed to recognize that this was a greater achievement by the pinks. And these areas are like fully cut off from. Yeah. And the forces over here try to get out, but pinks just push them from every side. And eventually we see them making out, but with only a few dozen men left, because they were fighting for their lives. And blues will be like, okay, you can get your independence, but under a few strict conditions, and those conditions are that they don't take as much land as they would have. And yeah, these are the lands. And jokes on them, they get annexed right away, because they actually don't know how to run a nation. Nobody from these areas decided to help them. And the blue team was already destabilizing them enough, because, well, the people over here were mostly blue teamers who didn't really want that, like the rebellion to happen, but it kind of happened. And yeah. Also, second time we're gonna see this guy eventually gonna rise up again. But the blue team will be now more mindful of their people that want independence, and, well, they're gonna say that whatever concerns the public might have about these lands, it's just gonna go away at some point. Definitely not gonna happen in a few dozen years again, the rebellion. Never gonna happen again. But we'll see that this will be the end of the video. We have seen a lot of expansion. We haven't seen our nation pop in and pop out of existence. And I'll see you guys next time. And bye bye.